For sure.
Yeah, it was just funny, just like constant funny stories like that. Or she'd look at you and she'd just go like, 23, 6, 15, 42. And I'm like, what?
And I mean, I did it counting, so it's like obvious. But who the hell knows what numbers?
So
and my dad's
like, write them down. Let's play the lotto. You know,
get the lotto number.
Things got a lot lighter the moment she woke up, and then it was like, you know, things lull back down. It's like, okay, what's the road ahead of us?
Right.
And to get back to your question, like when she woke up, she's still
I still on the ventilator.
Like all tubes in her mouth. Mm-hmm. Her hands were still restrained, and at first she would wake up like, we're talking like 5-10 seconds at a time. Like she would look, like open her eyes, kind of look around, close her eyes, and it would be like the doctor or whoever actually really was in the room was like, Colleen, if you can hear me, you know, squeeze my finger, squeeze my hand. And she would do that, or I need you to open your eyes. I need you to open your eyes. And she'd like open her eyes, look around, and close. Mm-hmm. And that was for a little while before she finally like opened her eyes and was like awake. And then even then, it you know, it's like obviously scary. It's probably scary for her. She had like that deer in headlights look, because here I am in the hospital. I woke up. I'm surrounded by a bunch of people. My hands are restrained. I can't talk because she's got these those tubes are in her mouth. Were still in her mouth for a little bit, even though she was conscious. We almost kind of made a joke because her hands would be like this tied, and she'd be like I'd be like, you walk in and be like, hey Colleen. She'd be like throw like a peace sign up to you or something, just be like, hey, or how are things? And she'd be like, okay. And then once she was like more coherent, they removed them, and we just had to keep reminding her, like, you can't pull that out, mm-hmm. And obviously she still couldn't talk, so a lot of it was just like facial expressions. And I wouldn't say she was angry at first. She just appeared like scared, and also like didn't know what was going on, if that makes sense. Kind of like almost like if you woke up a young child out of like their nap and you're like, come on, let's gotta go, and they're like, well, like what's it like? It was one of those. And it was like that for a while until eventually the tube came out. She couldn't talk for a while because obviously her throat was all sore. And then that's when all the charm and everything started. Her trying to like lie about her actual position.
Yeah.
And then when people would start holding her accountable is when she got the attitude. So that's when she was mean. When she was finally met with the challenge and then confronted, like, hey, we know you're having a difficulty with this. That's when she would get mean. Because some of the tasks were very simple, so you could tell she was mad because she's like, I should know this,
right? And
she couldn't figure it out. And instead of people being like, no, take your time, they'd be like, come on, you know this, come on, you could do this.
Like, it's so simple, and I'm like,
and
okay.
So yeah, that's when she.
We're gonna have a problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here's a random question: at the hospital, were you like kind of like clockwork? Like you knew when the food was coming. You knew when people were showing. You didn't know that.
No, not at all.
All right.
No, not at all. I would say even like I had been there for a while, so they would let me use the phone. Like I said, I would call Martin, and I remember one time like
call long distance.
I think I had my cell phone back then when I called you. I'm not sure, but I remember in the beginning of like when I was there, I was like, Mom, where were you? And she's like, I was coming. Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I don't understand why you weren't here. And she's like, well, you could call me. And I'm like, I don't know how to use the phone, like everything. I was like, I don't know how to do this, so it's not so simple. I'm like, challenges.
Yeah. That was rough. Yep. And actually, speaking of that just made me think of it. Like, she was young. I told you she was charming her way out. So some people thought she was better than she was.
The whole time.
And she thought she was better than she was.
Right, yeah.
And she's like, I'm fine. She had a broken leg. She had no idea. So she got out of bed one time.
More than one time.
And then fell.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, she just had a brain injury. She's a fall risk now. And then she got mad because once she fell, hospital's like, okay, well now you have to be restrained to the bed because we can't risk you falling again.
Right.
So now she's, all upset now because she doesn't know what's going on. She thought she
in jail.
pulled one over on us, and now she's strained to the bed. I come in like, what happened? And they're like, she's like, I don't know. They're yelling, and then I'm like, what happened? And I'm like, she fell. Like we told her, you can't. We told her this, and this, and she's like, okay.
Obviously, I'm not retaining any of the information.
She's like, yeah.
It's
she's
just like, sure, okay, yep, I won't. And then 30 seconds later, I don't remember any of it.
Yeah. So did you get the food at the hospital?
I don't really. I mean, I can't tell you, but
That's a good question.
My mom would say that like she had to hand feed me. Like I couldn't pick up a fork, pick up a spoon and get it to my mouth. Like I could pick it up, I could move it probably to here. And I do remember like they would say like I could fling food, but I couldn't, for whatever reason. If it was cognitive, I don't know, but I could not, like that task, I could not do it. And so it was one of those things. I do remember my mom saying like, oh yeah, you ate all the fish, which I would never eat fish.
That's
I
what I
ate
was gonna
all
say.
the vegetables.
That's why it's a good question.
And my
because
sisters are like looking and they're like, oh my God, she wouldn't
doesn't-
like that.
yeah,
like, because I ate like a 12-year-old
Yeah.
beforehand.
It was like, it was great for me. It was like a cheap date. It was always like chicken fingers or like, hey, let me get that kids meal. I'll get a, grilled cheese, like, burgers. It was
Yeah.
never. And then she's like, I would never eat fish. And then now she's eating all of that food, and so it's like, and not only is she eating it, like she likes it. It's not like she's like, oh yeah, I'll try it. She's like, no, this is good. And so like that kind of changed about her also, where now she eats different things and,
Right.
experiments or tries a little bit more different types of food.
Yeah, I would definitely would never.
That's
before.
a direct result. And I know this might be like TMI, but
God.
she didn't like, forever, like,
I still don't.
touch her feet.
I still
She
don't.
didn't like, and she's in a hospital bed. So, like you're holding her hand because I'm like, hey, if you hear me, or so sometimes her friends, they would be like near her foot or something like, hey, sweetheart, we're here. And they would touch her foot.
And
like,
they know that my friends know. You
normally,
do not touch my feet.
Yeah,
I will break your nose.
She kicked me in the chest, She didn't. It was like a weird thing. She's like, don't. And like after that accident, like her friends have like a funny. They all had a picture of like them all like.
When I'm in a
touching her
coma,
foot.
and they're all touching my foot. It's like, Pete, get out of here.
But like, yeah, like, but certain things kind of just changed, like personality wise, like and oddly enough, like that kind of came back. Like now, don't touch your feet.
No.
But like for that period of time, like she's like, what's the big deal? Why are you guys touching my feet? You're weird. Like it didn't like freak her out, like it did. So
yeah.
as far as like how things changed personality wise, and then I guess they healed and kind of came back to what they were in the first place.
Yeah.
A little extra something.
There you go.
So here's a question: when you were in the hospital and a doctor point to something like a pillow, could you name? And they'd say, "What is that?" Could you name that pillow? Or would you say it's something like soft or?
I do.
Sometimes, but sometimes you just go like all cute, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Or because a lot of times they'd be like, "Can you tell me what that is?" And she'd be like, "Yeah." And I'd be like,
so
"Okay, so what is it?"
And I'm like,
And then she's like, "I don't know." And they would do like little like things that obviously this is for therapy. Things you would think like of a child. They say, "Hey, we're gonna put these 4 objects in a row on a 4 pictures, right?" And it would be like, it would be like a hammer, a saw,
what goes
an
together?
apple, and a screwdriver. And they'd be like, which one of these doesn't belong? She's like, I don't know. And she just looked at you like, I don't know. And that's the thing, she'd get frustrated because everybody's like, come on, Colleen, you know this stuff. And she's like, I don't know, like leave me alone. And it was that simple. And she's like,
but it wasn't
I
right.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that took a while. And then it's just weird, but just as time progressed, and then obviously with the help of the therapists, and really I think a lot of it was also being home with her mom, because her mom just made her do stuff, like, okay, Colleen, we're gonna cook dinner today, and she'd get up and she thinks she's being more of a help than she was, but it's honestly, I hate to say it, but it's like having your 4-year-old, make sandwiches with you. Or it's like having your 4-year-old, okay, we're going to clean up now. Like your kid's making more of a mess than actually helping, but you want them to have that like sense of accomplishment and kind of understand and go through the motions. And her mom did a lot of that. So I think like that really helped, because in her mind, she thought she can do it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
I can, like I'll cook dinner tonight, Mom. It's like, you couldn't even tell me where the stove is right now. And we're in the kitchen. Like certain things just weren't there. But I think just that repetition. So back to your old question, it was like, how long did she have therapy for? It didn't last that long once she went home with her parents, but in reality, they were kind of doing therapy, more occupational therapy, just like same thing. Like when she was struggling at work, mom would come up and be like, okay, let's figure this out. Colleen, close the door and you know, like, because they had the same job. Like, hey, I'll show you how to do this accounting.
Wow.
You know, so as much of a miracle as this whole thing was, it wasn't like a poof. Like you still have
Oh, no.
you still have to work at your miracle.
Right,
You know?
absolutely,
You still have to
yeah.
work for it, and
That's what
And
I
she
say.
did.
Like most
She
people
did.
think that I was fine after like let's say 6 months. Oh, she's healed. Like because
No,
I will fake it till I make it. Like that is me. And so I definitely did some of that, and I always wanted people to think I was better, but it definitely took between 3 and 5 years.
Hi, thanks for watching my video. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.